Saudações, viemos ao encontro para este destaque, viemos ao encontro de Sitoyo Lopokoiyiti, ele que é diretor executivo do Empresa África. Encontramos-lo durante a sua recente passagem pela capital moçambicana, onde veio participar de um evento corporativo e também de assuntos inerentes ao M-Pesa Moçambique, obviamente. Estamos a falar de um projeto, neste caso do M-Pesa África, que representa cerca de 2 milhões de empregos diretos, 5 milhões de empregos indiretos. Estamos a falar de 60 milhões de clientes e 400 bilhões de dólares anualmente do ponto de vista de transações, e muito mais do que 1,5 bilhões de transações são efetuadas pelo M-Pesa diariamente ao nível do continente. Mr. Sitoyo, welcome to our show.
Thank you very much.
And let's start for telling us the footprint, the recent footprint of the M-Pesa Africa. Do you think that M-Pesa Africa is in good shape and at its best moment so far?
I think first, thank you, Zhao, for hosting me. And let me start with the journey of M-Pesa. So we started in March 2007 in Kenya. And at that time, we were the first mobile money company globally to start M-Pesa. So mobile financial services started through M-Pesa. And the big need that we started was solving a real problem in the African continent, with people moving from the rural areas to the urban areas, and then having to send money back to the rural areas. And that was our first use case, and it was about how do we solve that problem. So when we launched in March 2007 in Kenya, it was more about sending money home. So people in the urban areas sending money home to the rural areas. Then we moved into what we call a payment side. So this is where we started putting products and services relating to electricity payments, water payments, because people used to queue a lot for those kind of services. Then we introduced international money transfer, where people can receive money from internationally. So from the payment era, we now moved into the era we call lifestyle. And this is where we've integrated everything into M-Pesa. The core thing about M-Pesa is more about our purpose. There's a lot of challenges we have in Africa with regard to financial inclusion, financial health, access to basic financial services, empowerment of women. And this is where M-Pesa's main focus has been, is how can we improve the society in which we operate. We started in Kenya, now we're in 7 markets. We've primarily, at the earlier years, we were focusing on providing products and services for customers. So you can make your payments, you can do remittance, you can, do a lot more things. Now you can get loans. But more now we're moving towards businesses and government. So we are looking at how to support businesses. So this is right from governments, what they want to do, to large corporates, the Coca-Cola, Diageo's, the banks, and then to SMEs and to micro SMEs. And this side of M-Pesa has a lot of focus. We see that because SMEs, according to World Bank, account for 7 out of 10 jobs are created by SMEs. So we see this side as a very key component of the future of how M-Pesa evolves and how we grow.
And you are still evolving in innovative ways, right?
Yeah, so what we've done is by focusing on what products and services customers want, we've remained very innovative. It has also helped that the advent of technology and how speed technology has gone means we are able to provide a very reliable, scalable platform. We protect from cybersecurity, anti-money laundering, and so on and so forth. But by opening up also our platform to third parties to develop products and services onto it, we're seeing banks develop new products and services. We're seeing the Fintech community develop products and services on M-Pesa. So we've opened up our platform to enable innovations come out from outside M-Pesa into M-Pesa. So there's more innovation that we see in the community than actually from my own team. So we're excited that that speed of growth has accelerated, and our ecosystem today moves more than $1.2 billion a day and we do about 180 million transactions per day.
So how do you assess your socioeconomic impact? How do you evaluate that?
I think this is part of our purpose, and how do we impact the society. One, according to the GSMA, countries that have mobile financial services have about 1 to 1.5% uplift in real GDP. The second thing, we accelerate the velocity of funds from a GDP perspective. So you'll see in most of our markets, almost 40% of the GDP of the country is on M-Pesa. So we're increasing that velocity from that perspective. Thirdly is the empowerment of women. That is a very key component of how we impact society in general. The third bit is ensuring that we drive financial inclusion in the societies in which we operate. In some markets, we've seen it move from 20% to over 80% financial inclusion. I think in Mozambique, it's close to, 49%. So there's a lot of effort that we're doing with regard to how the impact to society. The other thing is there are vulnerable communities that have been left behind, people who are visually impaired. So in some of our markets, between 4 to 5 million people are visually impaired, so they cannot use financial services the way you and I can. So we're using new technologies such as IVR technologies. We've introduced Dot Braille Watch, and this is to ensure that no one is left behind when you're talking about financial inclusion.
With regard to your track record and portfolio, what are the common challenges facing for M-Pesa across the country where the business are running?
That's an interesting question, Jal, because I see two main things. One is customer education. We are putting a lot of products and services within the USSD of the app. And how does somebody in rural Mozambique get to understand how credit works, how savings work, how insurance works, how to protect their PIN number, how to protect, to understand that there's no social engineering or fraud that can happen. So the issue around customer education is a big thing. And this is not just to us, but to, I think, the financial services sector in general. The second thing is smartphone penetration. So with a smartphone, then you can provide more products and services, whether it's for agriculture, weather. You can send more information to customers. They can look at their transaction history better, and so on. We can add more services. But in the continent, I think smartphone penetration is about 30–35%. And that's a big challenge for M-Pesa and for financial services. And we'd like to see, smartphones pricing go down to, $10–15. Yeah. Right now, it's in the region of $50–60 per smartphone. So that's a big challenge that we do face in it. We do sometimes see the success of M-Pesa, the success of mobile financial services, becoming sometimes an easy target for tax authorities in it. And this is where education around that the value does not necessarily mean the profits. It means people are transacting, but it's important that we work with the governments in understanding the role mobile financial services play, and it doesn't become an easy tax tool.
Got this stage, this point, what do you consider the main risks posed to your business?
I think two things. One, what keeps me awake is ensuring that we protect customer data. I think customer data protection is #1 priority, and ensuring that your data is not used by third parties without your authority. The second bit is on cybersecurity and anti-money laundering. So that's a big issue that we need to protect. Yesterday, the Mozambique regulator was speaking about cybersecurity, was speaking about data protection, and those are pertinent issues that we deal with.
And what is your approach regarding that?
So as M-Pesa, we spend a lot of money in ensuring that we protect our systems, that your data is secure, that should you want, if a service requires to use your data, then you must consent as an individual, and we must keep a record of that consent digitally, that you actually consented for your data to be used, let's say for credit scoring and so on and so forth. So that's very important. But the main thing is ensuring that all transactions, both domestically and internationally, are screened and to ensure that there's no money laundering within the ecosystem, that there's no terrorism financing, and so on and so forth. So that is a big part of what we do, and today we screen all the 180 million transactions that happen on M-Pesa are screened, and that requires a huge investment in ensuring.
What are the financial efforts to address this question, these risks that you pointed out?
No, I think, if the consequences of breaches are very severe when it comes to AML, cybersecurity, and we've seen, big companies, even the big tech companies, get impacted when there's a cybersecurity incident. So the consequences of that are severe, and the intention is just to make sure that we continue working with regulators, investing in the platform, and working with our partners to ensure that there is security and stability on the platforms.
Talking about your operational systems, what are the particularities of your operation in different countries that you are running your business?
So each country is very unique. What happens in Mozambique is not the same that happens in Kenya. What we try and do is put a platform that has all the products and services, whether it is a savings solution, lending solution, international money transfer, P2P, merchant payments, and so on. So we provide the platform that can do many, many products and services. Now, which product and services you roll out depends on the country. So Kenya initially started with a send money home proposition. We just went into Ethiopia. Ethiopia is a very different market. They have the same platform that Mozambique has, but they are doing more the merchant play. So each market very different.
Acting differently.
Yes.
Okay. What is the potential mobile? Talking now more specific about Mozambique. What is the potential of the wallets, electronic wallets in Mozambique?
No, I think first the scope in Mozambique is immense. We are still on the runway in Mozambique in terms of the number of products and services we can launch. There is good developments by Banco Mozambique with the SIMO platform, and integrating into that gives huge opportunities for new kind of products and services such as interoperability, IMT, and so on and so forth. In terms of financial inclusion, Mozambique is, I think yesterday we saw about 49%, so there's huge opportunities to go to 70, 80, 90% financial inclusion into it. But the most exciting thing about Mozambique, I think, is the young people. Yesterday we saw 3 teams of university students, very innovative, very creative, and building products and services that, escrow accounts and so on, that, shows that the future of Mozambique is very bright. The future of financial services is with the young people. The future of financial services and the innovation is there. So it's more about how do we provide an opportunity in a marketplace for enabling these young men and women to take advantage of the M-Pesa system.
But what Mozambique represents in your portfolio and your business structure? Indeed.
So if I rank,
in terms of revenue, profits, etc.
If I rank Mozambique was second to Kenya. Now Tanzania has overtaken it, so Mozambique is third in it. But we see the opportunities here are actually bigger than more in Kenya and Tanzania. So the team is working very, very hard to get back to the number 2, and the difference is just because of the complexity.
And do you think Mozambique has a lot of space to grow?
I think it has the biggest space to grow compared to Kenya, where it's more getting to maturity, where 90% of the population is using it. and Mozambique has a much bigger runway to explore. And as I said, I think they can take advantage of everything that has happened in all our markets, so they get the best of both sides.
There's an ambition from M-Pesa on your M-Pesa philosophy that one day could replace the banking system.
That's an interesting question. So the answer to that is no. We play on a payments system, so from a national payment system from the Bank of Mozambique or all our markets, we are a payment system. The banks are on banking supervision, so they play on that side. What we do is we have a very good symbiotic relationship. So we move a lot of money to the banks, and we ensure that banks don't have to have a lot of branches because there's interoperability between bank and M-Pesa and so on. So and then for every shilling on M-Pesa, it is actually in a bank account. So as M-Pesa becomes bigger, the banks become bigger. So we leverage on their licenses.
How do you see your relationship with the banking system?
No, I think it's initially at the beginning and the earlier days was difficult. Now the banks see us as a partner, and we see them as a very strong partner to drive financial services.
And the regulations are more or favorable to your business?
I think we're in two different...
In general, okay. I understand could depend from country to another country, but in general.
I think regulators have been very positive with regard to mobile financial services. I always say it is us as an industry who sometimes are not as open to the regulator on what we want to do. So I will build my product and services in my office, and then when it's ready, I go to the regulator and say, please give me approval. I think that approach is the wrong approach. When you're thinking of a product and service, engage the regulator. Just on concept, every time you do something, engage with them. The good thing with the regulator, like in Mozambique, they have a sandbox. And yesterday they said out of 20 products that they are in the sandbox, they have approved 17. So the regulator is open and saying, come and test things. And that's a very progressive, what we're seeing from a regulatory perspective, especially in Mozambique.
What do you wish to be done in this context of regulation that could be more favorable and more sustainable basis for your business?
I think it'll be more from an Africa perspective. It is very easy to move money in Europe or the US or South America. In the continent, it's easy to move money into the continent. It's easy to move money out of the continent, but it is very difficult to move money within the continent. So the trade between Mozambique and South Africa, trade between Mozambique and Kenya is very difficult. But I can send money to the US.
We have Africa
yes.
Free Trade Zone.
We have Africa Free Trade Zones, and that's a very good statement. I mean, the agreements have been signed, and the laws are there for movement of funds, but the central banks need to provide that framework for free movement of money within the continent. We are seeing some things like PAPs come into it, but it is very difficult for businesses to move money within the continent, which is strange, considering it's so easy to move money out of the continent.
Sitoyo, Lopokoiyiti, thank you very much for being with us in our show. I wish you the best.
Thank you very much, Al. Really appreciate it.
Fizemos assim este apontamento de passagem pela M-Pesa África. Tentamos aqui perceber um pouco o alcance e a profundidade deste negócio, que tem um enorme potencial com múltiplos impactos socioeconômicos, como tivemos a oportunidade de ouvir e acompanhar. Vamos fazer uma breve pausa, voltamos logo a seguir.